Hello, everyone, and welcome to my this kind of experience and tales from the Divine RPG's Vethea. The episode actually finds Vethea, as I've learned recently. Since, fun fact, despite what the cool cinematic intro that I did, I hope you enjoyed it, by the way. He showed you that is in fact not how you actually enter this place. For you see, what you must do is create a place that's in total darkness. So basically, if you want to do in the overworld, which fun fact is not actually recommended for how the dimensional system works here, but you can still make a portal from Vethea to the overworld by just simply sleeping in Nightmare Battle. Of course, since the Nightmare Battle itself has been in total darkness, that can be a bit challenging to do. So basically, my initial thought was, oh, maybe I can make it a daylight central that closes the door at day. But then I realized, oh, how do I get into it if it closes at day? And so basically that led to a lever system that you see here, which doesn't work since, well, it does allow me to open the, but as you saw, it doesn't really allow you to get back in. But, I mean, I found that I fixed it in the end, that not really matters too much since, well, I might show you how the new Divine Police works as well for those who don't know and those for those who don't know, since he did change it, by the way. So this is a bit of a retrospective of like my tales from seeing it from videos, as well as showcasing what they changed about it all. Starting with what you just saw right then and there. For those of you who knew Divine RPG from way back when, this is entirely new to you. Yeah, no, they removed the original portal system. Well, not entirely. For you see, now with the instead of getting the gem, instead of just making the nether pole frame and just using a twilight clock and it, now what you have to do is get the specific time of day in a clock, and you can either throw it into a corresponding flame of where you want to go, with Eden's case right here being the divine flame that you get from, killing the normal bosses that you would rumble from either the end boss or the Nether boss and whatever. I forgot the name, sadly, since I wasn't really here to showcase the entirety of Divine RPG as the video described. It's just Vethea, but it is an interesting thing. It's like, parents, Eden is much more closer to noon than morning. Heck, it actually requires you to set up at noon, so fun story, when I originally made the clock system, the opening cinematic, I actually had correct the first time around due to how I set everything up, since I put the block that represented Eden at the top, and it led to Morton being at the bottom, or midnight. So yeah, kind of funny how that worked out, but I mean, I feel like that the cinematic you saw was battle because it just flowed easier. But yeah, pretty much how the new system works is that each portal will send you back to the previous dimension. So Eden will send you back to the overworld always. Then from Eden, you throw the clock the timed clock that corresponds to your place. And also, fun fact, I had a hard time understanding how to get to Asica as well. It's just a bunch of snow and the new Ace Flame. That, fun fact, is how you get frozen clocks, so you never need to worry about timing when you can actually do things. And the safety time for to do things. So you see me misunderstanding how this whole system works. It's basically because I tried to do it like this, and no, you don't need a false flame. But hey, at least it is a wild simplification now that you need to get to everywhere when needed. And yeah, it's like throwing the things don't help past me was being silly. So I don't understand it. I only really understood when I watched the original, I watched the FAQ for the new system. But in fact, they made enough because you understand that this is a complicated system now. And FAQ, there's even the obsidian that allows you to keep the whiffs up longer. Since the whiffs don't stick around forever. And but fun fact, if you try to use create a rift for a wall that isn't the next one in line, like for example, a wildwood wall for the overworld, it becomes unstable and basically has a sort of waste of time before exploding. And if you get the wrong time signature with the flames, it explodes immediately. So yeah. Don't do that. That sucks. And yeah, I think that's all you need to know about the new system. So basically, just cool. It's instead of having a cool giant pole network. I mean, you still can, but it's a lot. It's much more of a one-way system. Instead, how it's supposed to go is basically you leave the overworld, you enter Eden. You spend your time in Eden, get stronger, go to the next world over, to the Wildwood, and then so on and so forth until you get to Mauritanium, where instead of making rifts, you make the nightmare bed, and then sleep there, because to by 5 it's always dark in the goddamn cave world, leading to this effect where, on almost more likely a casual playthrough, you just collect all the blocks you need to just return back to the previous world, meaning that you have this continual line of portals that basically go from one dimension to the other in the fashion that you see right here. Or you see you can go all the way back to the overworld like that. Or, as I will show you now, if you do get the blocks for it, you could just make a portal to the selected dimension right here, and then just have a direct line through from both worlds. But again, rifts don't really allow you to do that, and because of that, I'm pretty sure the intended path is for you to basically just have a line going down, like the ticking of a clock. It all goes back to the clock motif, doesn't it? But yeah. Enough with these worlds on back to Vethea, where to be very apparent to you that we're missing a lot of items. Yeah, it was like most modern day dimensional worlds things would just simply have like the tools and items you got across the game just be inefficient in this world. Vethea does not care for this kind of logic, and instead this removes the option for you to even use your old tools right from the get-go. Of course, if you had like a backpack mod, which many old YouTubers from the past usually had, you could bypass this and remove one of the most integral mechanics that Vethea has. Which while disappointing, was also kind of a neat thing, because it kind of leads to a different reaction for a different encounter modded. But of course, for people who play it straight, yeah, no, you're fighting battle strong enemies with less than nothing, because yeah, I don't think because these planks of wood do not actually allow you to make sticks of them, I believe. At the very least, at the very least, you don't seem to have a wood type of your own, so yeah. You'll always be spawned at the lowest steps, the fiery cavern, with its red grass and red old trees. Well, since you have logs, you have to assume that they're trees. I don't know. From all of the war, I think. Well, I don't have much memory of Mortem. Vethea, despite how little I usually tend to see Vethea, it always kind of stood out to me more, especially compared to the rainbow colors of floating islands that the original 4 worlds have going for them. For a while, of course, people will remember Eden, a few people probably want Wildwood. I feel like after last year, it would be the one I most forgotten because Sky Within has is the most memorable, has a memorable part of having an Emmy that went out to Mount EU. Yeah, those guys are orcs. But yeah, we also have the Mysterious Men Layer 1, because those Mysterious Men all men of the top who are it's very mysterious on the simple fact that they're helping you when you click them. They also vanish, giving you some lumps. That is pretty much how you get your new weaponry from here. Your equipment like tools and shovels and axes, like the least useful of them all in this world, can be gotten from the hungers, the big guys with mouths that usually have upside down houses or normal houses. So yeah, again, while the enemy design of the Final PG is weird and to some degree semi-outdated, I know the designs of Vethea always I guess fit the vibe of this place a lot to me. Just simply weird, dreamlike creatures that follow their own rules and mechanics more so than the systems that you're used to from here on. So yeah, in Pixels, like your very first goal is to just leave the first layer, since it's unlikely you're going to really be killing any of these lower level creatures, since while the symbols of the legendary weapons of Mortem are around, these people are still rather strong. Like I think they do like roughly like 2 hearts, maybe more. They attack fast and are rather quick, so keep that in mind. Of course, I did want like watching a speed one of this. That potion effects do still carry over, so just get yourself a strength 2 potion, drink it, and speed as well. They drink it before entering the dimension, and then ba bing ba boom, here you are. Up in the dream world, a bit more strength than you normally would have. So yeah. Of course, along with that, we have besides the normal structures of Vethea, we also have the fire crystals which serves as lighting. Sorry if the video is a bit dark for you, but I probably should have. I don't actually know how to up the lighting and editing, sadly. But anyway, it's not like it matters much since outside of the dungeons that you see here, what I mean by the normal structures, there's not a lot going on here besides, trying to not die. Maybe eating one of the dream items like the watermelon right here, or cakes. You also see this is how you will probably get pearls to go trade with the hungers. And yeah, the carrots, pies. I guess I'm pretty sure the Dreamworld items are inverted textures of the inverted coloring of the world things. But I actually do like the look of them. Again, that's really sell the vibe. It's like it being a weird, mysterious food item, like something close to reality, but not quite. Kind of sad that they lost their flavor text though. Like how like the cake. I forgot what each of the flavor text was, but it's like the cake one was like it tastes like your sweetest memories or whatever. And yeah, but in fact, if you somehow smuggled a bed into Vethea, you could get to Mortem that way. Although the proper way of doing it is by making a Mortem to Vethea to Mortem portal. Specifically that way, not the other way around. There's no way you can make a portal from Mortem and expect to go to Vethea. Although, while fitting for the honors of Vethea, I don't actually know how a new player to Final RPG will realize this is how you make a portal deck. Because, it's rather oddly clear since every other portal works with normal Nuzzle mechanics. As you saw there, I did die when I got back to Vethea since I was in the middle of the void. And that's not even counting that originally when I used the bedlight, I spawned on the roof of Mortium. So, yeah. User beware. Leaving Vethea is an ordeal. Like, later on I'll show you exactly where you're allowed to make a portal in Vethea to not, like, either spawn too high or spawn too low in Mortium. I don't think if the makers of the RPG watch this video, please do fix the Vethian Vethea to Mortium portal transportation thing. Every Azure portal has some failsafe for in case you spawn offset kill turtle in the middle of the void. You saw, well, there's using a divine stone block there. But for some reason, I guess because Mortium and Vethea are two distinctly different worlds, there is no like innate protections for either. It's fine. Pretty much, if you, without me showing you the exact height you should be in, for the general consensus, do not make a portal in the Fiery Cavern, despite that being where you spawn. In fact, you should wait to even think about making portals. Since first of all, you need a dream port flint and steel thing. I immediately forgot the name of it. Sorry. But the important part is that you also need the Mortium blocks, which, well, are quite expensive. You'll need pearls from outside of the Fiery Cavern, since the pearls that monsters drop are also dependent on where they are. And as you see, here is basically me messing with all the items, all the Vethian unique items. For example, the disc, which is basically an area that you throw and regain. And that guy jump scared me, not gonna lie, because I was in single player and it's like, he wants it now. It's just like mysterious ranger being mysterious. Yeah, there are tales of they help you trying to get to the feeding table. And here's two beings. Yeah, it's like, here's what I mean by like the really strong. Like, the amount of seconds that acid pool that one made kind of nearly killed me. And that's like one of them. Like with the other guys as well. Yeah, the bottom layer is definitely what I would say is the hardest layer to contend with, just on that fact alone. But of course, we can always go up, and going up, we can go find those infusion tables that the mysterious men keep talking about, as well as the place I would say that I've factually confirmed with experimentation is roughly where you would want to make a return portal to as well. The one, the only, I'm just going to, for your sake, skip through all this mining, the Dream Grounds. As you can see, this is effectively Vethea proper. For this is where you're most likely going to encounter your first infusion tablet, if they're tablets. It's still a lot more easier to see here, since the glow and all that, and I just didn't find one in the bottom layer easel, so yeah. As well as the fact that besides the hungers, which are still in the bottom layer, the relatively, well, I say flat, but like as you see, it's still a lot of mattress. But the main thing is, with the index of the fusion tables, as I stated, and just the general vibe of this place, I would say that this is basically the true surface of Vethea, which is a net one thing, since it's still dark. Mainly because, well, still underground actually. There are Vethea is made up of 4 layers, each layer having more and more access to the sky than the last. In fact, with the proper world generation, you could have a world that goes all the way up from the top layer down to here. There is no sky connection to Vethea. And of course, this was where I learned about Awakened Highlight, which is a very cool item that is completely worthless because you are required having the Highlight armor, 2 pieces in fact, along with another thing, and basically it's a hyper endgame thing, which you know would be useful in Vethea, but you wanna know what world that prevents you from using it gives you a brand new inventory the moment you enter it? Vethea. So yeah, a funny idea, but that means all it is. But not to say that Vethea doesn't give you new armor sets. For after me exploring the moment, like, oh yeah, like we have armor sets for all types of things. Because Divine RPG also nerfs diamond armor as well. Fun fact. Like the diamond armor that, at least from my armor from the past, I don't know if it's still the case, but diamond armor from the past of Divine RPG is actually weaker than normal vanilla diamond armor. So if you have a mod that gives you diamond armor, in the past at least, they'll probably give you the vanilla diamond armor, which was basically comparable to, which was a tier below a highlight. So yeah, guys, as you nature of how this games look, and honestly, of course, highlight was still better, and several armor sets were still about. It'd still be better than diamond even then due to their secondary mechanics. But yeah, you see, this place opened up immensely compared to the fiery grounds. So much so that they started including enemies that are immune to fall damage. Those guys, as well as the twins. So yeah, just simply the getting is dive bombed by those guys. Happened to someone at some point. But yeah, this is pretty much where effectively, I guess, most memory of Vethea is at. It's like this cool greens and blues. Well, I don't like the flowers back then. It's like, yeah, this was like effectively the screenshot place from my memory. It's like it's like looking at this, like, yeah, some of the screenshots, like the infusion table, or it's like standing on one of these hills and like looking up and it's like taking a screenshot of that. It's like it feels both scientifically underground while still being a surface layer. That's due to how everything is structured, and here's the infusion tables that I keep on talking about. As you see, you need a template which go talk to the hungers. Alright, he changed the textures of the template to make it look more closer to the smithing templates of Minecraft. So yeah, but of course, here you get the treacle emblems and things to make the weaker tools, or what you'll probably end up going and talking to your new mysterious friends to get the stronger things, so you can use the templates to make better weapons than the layer 1 ones could ever provide. Kind of the downside of not really being infusion tables, or just infusion tables being hard to come by in the fiery cavern than they are here, because it pretty much just means that the first layer is the most useless, and then you just go from layer 2, then bits of 3, and then you'll just end at endgame with 4, and well, not even the 4 lumps, you'd probably still keep to level 3 and then end with the boss drops and all things so yeah. Because, see, there's still, because, yeah, they have 2 types of blades. You have the back swords, the claws, the crab hammers, and the mauls. Which, well, this is the only one that has a, well, this have no end game variation. Mauls have 2. One from the final boss of, pretty much the final boss of the entire Divine RPG period, and one from the third boss, which is stronger than the last one's this period. So yeah, just keep all that in mind. And it's like the attack rate isn't even all that slow, and they have pretty good lanes. But as you can see from this hunger I spawned, all you need is the walk pebbles to make it. And I'll show you. While slow, it's theoretically you can get the mall without having to fight a single boss. If you get lucky, since walk chunks do spawn naturally in chests, although those chests are in the highest layer of Vethea. So don't expect an easy trip, especially since remember, the Hungos only spawn at the fiery cavern layer. At the very least, are more likely to spawn there. And I know for a fact they don't spawn at the higher layers. So yeah, it's gonna be quite the climb. Without any of, since you lose the flying armor set from the EP from the normal world, you're gonna need to rely on the new armor set to do so. And well, the end game sets does alleviate a bit by giving you a jump boost and fall immunity set, so you could just jump from the very bottom and go down. But the climbing up is gonna be a challenge. I guess Vethea takes the body approach of it's always easier to fall down a mountain than it is to climb up. So besides the getting over it that you'll have to do from all this, you see what I mean by that. It's the second boss of the main storyline, I'll call it. Pretty much you see from the lumped lines that can give you the strongest small if you get lucky a bit. Well, there are a few bosses of Vethea, and an enemy that is invincible. Heck, killing it is a advancement. It means it's possible. You just gotta remember how, though. And sadly, I do not know how. They don't still. Also, another boss called the Hive Queen, but from the perspective of the advancements, it's an optional boss that doesn't lead too much besides its own death. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go back to exploring the area, shall we? Enough of this. I do believe they did change the design of Vethea again, since while this one definitely does feel like a big open area that leads into that only reveals itself to be more of a cavern, another cavern. I don't know the old Vethea having these large pillar-like structures, although that may have just been the fiery cavern layer. But yeah, you can see there's while there were flowing structures in the fiery cavern, the dream grounds have a lot more of them just scattered out. Another thing that the dream grounds has in a larger variation of is those pillow things that you saw me climbing up on the fiery cavern there. As you see, these ones go way higher up, and you can see something special as well. Since I think this one is pretty much one of the ones that go all the way up beyond the third layer, beyond the fourth layer, into the very skies themselves, where you can see it. I don't really know what it is besides a giant eye. An eye that watches over all of Vethea, and even beyond the newest layer, the Highlands, and the scorched grounds above that. It's interesting to think that the reason why I say the name of the fourth layer now, the scorched grounds, is because it does bring up more context to what everything is, doesn't it? Because the Highlands is pretty much the last, I guess, habitable zone, per se, and there's more of the same structures. The eye replicates the moon, in fact, since I believe the way that this eye works, that it time what phase of the moon is depends on how open the eye is. You can see in the middle of the sky, watching your every move. I wonder if it is the one that created this place. It is the one that scorched this ground. Either way, as you see, a lot more floating enemies exist on the higher planes than the bottom ones. A lot more reminiscent of the more dangerous worlds that precede it, well, basically Skyfin and such. We also have a Helix, or Helio. Yeah, it's Helio. A new enemy, which I believe might be a fragment of some god or something. And I don't know if the worlds are made in the app. And I see these guys drop the most important thing, the tallest balls you can get to get the grail of the Dream Flint and Steel. Yeah, it's called the Dream Flint and Steel, Heavy Puzzle. And that's useful for everything since I forgot at the time, but I mean, I didn't know at the end. This is not only does it mean that you have to get to the sports grounds to even hope to get back. This is why I say that it's important to remember how getting back even works, since you need to somehow learn how to make a Vethea portal, but good luck if you're new to this, since you're unlikely to do so. But you also gotta get some of the old dirty balls to get the Mortium blocks, which, well, it is a convenient way to get back, since, remember, you can't actually get Mortium Hearts here, only the bosses of Mortium drop those. And since we're not in Mortium, you can't get those, means this portal is the only way forward. Scorched ground is called the Scorched Tops, but still, the vibe is there. It is the highest part of the ground is scorched in its eyes. It does lead to another question of what happened. Why is the top of it scorched? It doesn't seem scorched to me, but maybe I don't know how what say was scorched. Maybe the place can be different. Another thing of note is that this place is at build height of this world. You quite literally cannot build higher than what this place can do. Like, it's very easy to get to the build. Heck, you can even see from that pillar over there that that exceeds to build height already. So as this one, the pillars and landmarks that meant to show that to be a place of reckoning is cut off here. Almost as if the level forced destroy this place. It made certain that nothing could otherwise beyond the tops. But of course, the Highlands and the top is effectively where the last bosses are, the end game. But of course, the Dreamlands also has their own boss. There, Quadro. Sadly, I didn't really find where he was, so I did kill it to say, there's not really much for me to point out since this isn't even its real boss arena. So, yeah, instead, let's go on to the mad scientist himself, Carlos. There were a rather memorable boss fights, I have to say, due to the fact that they definitely do require their arena to work. Of course, after me blabbing about and just forgetting, like I said, I forgot that the Dream Flint Steel was what you do to awaken the bosses as well. Since, well, I got so hung up on the fact that, hey, this is the item you need to use to go back home, that I forgot that no, they solve a bigger purpose than simply being a way back home. It's also how you awaken the bosses. Well, all except for one of them. Although I don't know if their method still works now. Luckily for past me, a spawner works just as well and keeps Carlos's mechanics intact. Wow, that string was it was in clear mode, I decided to actually fight the bosses legitimately, or the ones that I did spawn in the arena. As you see, Carlos's battle is rather hectic since he uses those dot traps that you see around you to not only shoot arrows, but yeah, to shoot arrows, and he seems to use the crates above to drop bombs. Yeah, you can definitely see that, yeah, those areas are definitely dropping bombs. And of course, out of all the none of those things for the Divine RPG creatures, nothing ever spoke. The only time he started speaking was when they entered Vethea, and you saw it firsthand with this mysterious man. Which appearance means that the mysterious man's tutorial is the tutorial for everything you'll encounter in Vethea, even for parts that you don't quite realize until much later on your playthrough. But of course, going from Carlos the Mad Scientist, we now go up to the very scorched ground itself. Ragnarok symbol. This is pretty much like the biggest structure you'll ever encounter on the scorched tops. It's a brown building that contrasts with everything else. Along contrasting with anything else, it's also the first place to have a parkour section, which silly me always wants to complete these types of challenges despite there not being a reason to. Not even in normal playthrough. These blocks are unbreakable, does not mean you can't place blocks here. But of course, you have some preparing to do, and some chests to loot. And of course, what I mean by unbreakable, I mean like the actual like ground blocks themselves. The fiery crystals that you see here, which, fun fact, is the only place that these spawn outside the fiery cavern. The basement is the pretty much unbreakable. The fire crystals not at all. In fact, they're very breakable. Well, fire crystal several chests, you break those crystals over there, as you see right now. But this is the Ragnarok battle. A rather tough, guys, since it seems like all the bosses like to use the power of explosions, at least the early ones do. I can't remember what Quadro does, or the Hive Queen, I don't think they do. The Quadro had a gimmick of pretty much will attack you depending on which side of the map you're on compared to it. But of course, after his explosive fanfare that he seems to have stopped at some point, don't know why nor why, we are able to defeat him. I think it was Ragnarok that basically talked something about religion or something, about how those appears to be gods of Vethea, two per se, but I don't know if they could. Since this is more of an overview of everything that is in Vethea, more so than anything else, there's not much reason for me to discuss it more since I don't even know if that's even still canon or not. But of course, with those two bosses down, all that's left is the final two. The Wrecker, the P-Ultimate boss, and the final boss, Lady Luna. What, you thought my dramatic introduction to the boss would be the way we introduce her? Well, no, because we technically don't have the proper spawning item in the story. Like, she's the final boss of Vethea, and that requires defeating Wrecker. Although, because the item you need is the lunar clock. Although to be told, they don't actually know if Wrecker actually drops the lunar clock at the moment. The reason why I say this is because of the fact that, well, as you'll see what I mean by that. And here's that invincible enemy I was talking about. Like, there is a way to kill it, but it's not fall damage, it's not any of your weaponry. I don't actually know how to kill it, so technically you could argue this is the final boss of Vethea, because of the fact that, well, it spawns in the Highlands. I think it spawns. I only found it going here, although that could just be coincidence. And you'll probably need items from all over to actually be able to defeat it. But anyway, on to the lady herself. And with Moon Clock in hand, we can find some Lady Luna. Well, there could be a chance that I'm just gonna tell you now that she kind of broke. Well, gimmick. She used to have this cool gimmick where she would switch between the colors to represent what elements she would be weak to. But as you see, she just kind of stands there, does nothing. Yeah, it's a lot of disappointing finales. Which means I'm kind of lucky that I did it first before the Wacko fight, because that was an actual fight, don't you worry. But yeah, like I said, supposed to have like 3 phases, switching between like the 3 main elements of the attacking styles of Vethea: magic, melee, and ranged. Also, I tell you don't remember how the entire battle goes, since usually when I saw the fight go on, people tend to have just cheese the battle because they're not dealing with a very aggressive boss like Lady Luna. Although, I guess, can't really call her all that aggressive nowadays. But as the final boss of Vethea, she's also the one that drops all of the famous the Ever set of items, the strongest set in the game. And he also gave us the bow, the Ever Fright. And with that, well, it's not actually comparable to the strongest bow in the real world, the Twilight bow, which I guess is comparable to the Maul in the sense of it's the true strongest weapon of its tier, but it's not the end game set of it. And of course, you get Everlasting for collecting all of the Ever weaponry. You see by this, yeah, it's like to get luminosity, but of course we skipped over the Wacko battle and those Quadro. So with that, let's go fight effectively the final boss of this build. Since again, it could have broken because of the nature of me being Quaver at first, but I highly doubt it, since none of the other bosses seem to act this way. So yeah, I guess for the time being, Wacko is the final battle. Hailing on the scorched tops, much like the other guy, I can't remember, it was Vaglock. Yeah, it looks like Vaglock. He too has a puzzle, but also that contains lava. If you think about it, is lava the way you beat those Vathian guys? Although I don't really know how you get a bucket, so I guess it's unclear to me. But besides the point, we finally enter the boss chamber with the game gear you probably wouldn't have before then, but as you'll soon find out, it's not that big of a deal. Well, I think so. So we grab a Dream Flint and Steel and make our final mini weapons as we enter the battle. And you see, what does a lot of damage? So much so that we already died. Let's try that again, shall we? Just gonna put myself over to this corner and then, yeah. Talking like this is a beautiful message. Yeah, so what seems to have a grapple ability, which does a lot of damage, and I don't actually know how to stop it. All I did is seemingly out DPS it, we make him change to a different form, which seems to be a more ranged form or something, but at that point we kind of defeated him with the power of bow. Bows are very powerful in Minecraft, fun fact, like, more people should be using them. I don't know. I guess it's just easy to forget their existence, since all the cool upgrades you ever get are melee weapons, which makes you engage with any battle you deal with, because it's the fact it's a melee weapon. You can't just hide in a corner at the end of the wall and just like shoot at things. No, you must go fight things. And for some reason I thought, okay, I can do the parkour back here. I'm pretty sure this jump is impossible. And that's I didn't bother. But yeah, it's kind of like looking down at like the whole thing. You can see how from school to top, so you can all the way get down to Dreamland. Dream Grounds, I mean. Oh, it's a Dreamland, but yeah, that's not really a quality to help deal with this and thing. And of course, just try to figure out how things can work. Of course, there's always gonna be like some things that are missing or broken. That's the case of these mods. And while the Rhino RPG is getting updated constantly, it's it's one of the more ambitious mods in Minecraft, especially for its time. Because remember, Rhino RPG was like the first mod to try to basically be an entire adventure on its own. Like, the only other mods that I can think of that attempted anything like this is its spiritual successor, Advent of Ascension, or Nevermind, and of course, Orspawn. And outside the whole debacle of Orspawn is, there's not many other mods that come to my mind at least that really can just be like, oh, no, you can just like play the mod and that would be your whole experience, or adding this mod either your whole experience will be revolving around this mod, or if you add this mod to your mod pack, you're changing the entire vibe of the mod pack because of the grandeur and strength that this mod has. And I think, yeah, it's just like Minecraft was like, are there mods that can do that? I mean, yeah, but most of those mods are terrain based. Like, they tend to avoid adding new dimensions. They usually just go for the, like, for example, the mod or data pack that basically makes the world into Skyblock. Technically, yes, that also does change fundamentally how you play the game and everything that includes into it. The same goes with turning into a sea or just sucking amplified terrain. Like, maybe one of these retrospectives I should go talk about my experience with messing around with the goddamn like flying the floating islands, the biome type. That was like in vanilla, now it's tag on. I know, I guess to some degree that's the kind of both concepts of like a weird mountainous floating terrain and a cave world. Neat few seasons of the two I think so. But of course all adventures and every dream must come to an end. So with this I may as well show you where you should place your way out so you don't end up in the afterlife after it's all said and done. Before you see, and if the concept's up a bit late, you want to enter the dream grounds and go roughly to like those Z level 100 or 99 or so. But this will send you directly into Mortem Purple. Tar lava, it's not included. Or it's included. But yeah, roughly around that is where you'll be actually in Mortem Purple. A bit lower you'll be stuck on the ground, a bit higher you'll be stuck in the ceiling. Go to the sports tops or highlands. Go to the highlands and higher, you'll spawn on bedrock. Go too low, fiery caverns and below, you'll fall out of the world. You might even fall out of the world if you go past 43 in the Vethea. So yeah, luckily though is the respawn, the teleportation crystal, which in our case point will probably be how you actually leave Vethea. Where basically you make the portal go and then immediately rapid click the crystal button, so you go back to the overworld instead of dying in Mortem. But but besides that, that's pretty much about it. Thank you for watching, and I guess if you want to see me actually attempt to try to beat Divine RPG or this is Vethea itself, let me know. In the meantime, I'll do, well, round things once more. So, see you guys then.